Yo, what's going on, guys? And today, of course, I wanted to talk about the whole report if LeBron would actually leave the Lakers. We're hearing he is going to more than likely remain. And I think the whole, oh, he could leave, or we're not ruling out the possibility of him leaving, is just him leveraging his situation to, I guess, rationalize why he's not going to take a pay cut like he said last year, as they got Luka Doncic and he knows he's not the guy anymore and he doesn't have the leverage that, because basically Clutch Sports isn't the ones who are calling the shots anymore. It's WME, aka Bill Duffy, which is Luka Doncic's agency, is the one. That's why Jackson Hayes became a prominent part, and you'll see like this free agents and players that they'll target are going to be WMEA guys. So before we continue, I'd like to hear your guys' thoughts down below in the comment section if you guys agree with this. And let's just go ahead real quickly and read the report. That it's a report that basically, it's a combination. First off, the initial report was the one that came from them saying, oh, LeBron is not going to take a pay cut, and that there, the possibility of him leaving. And I asked my colleagues who I got friends in the LA media, and they all said there's no shot in hell. He loves it there. And the only thing I heard, nobody said he was going to leave. But the only thing, and I agree with them, is that if he were to leave, like if in some vacuum he were to leave, it would be, I guess maybe like Cleveland would make sense. But like obviously it wouldn't be for top money. And I floated out and nobody agreed with me. I was like, what about Miami? And everyone said, doesn't he hate Pat Riley? And I was like, allegedly, but like we don't know what goes on behind the scenes, and they could maybe do a package. But like, again, I don't think he's leaving. Everyone I spoke to tells me they don't think he's leaving, and that this is just all a leverage play, and they're going to sign Luka long term. With that being said, LeBron is in, I guess, going to repeat what he did last year, where he said, oh, get DeMar DeRozan or James Harden, Klay Thompson, or Jonas Valanciunas, and I'll take a discount. As he's widely expected to remain with the Lakers, he's not ruling out the possibility of finishing his career with another team. I just say that he's going to stay with the Lakers because, in my opinion, the Lakers are going to, if he stays, and this is what somebody says, he wants to play with Bryce James now, allegedly. I think the Lakers are the only team that would play ball to, draft Bryce in a couple years, maybe, if he's a legit NBA guy. Besides that, I would say maybe the Warriors, but they got Jimmy Butler, and I don't think that's an option. And James says he has concerns about the state of the Lakers roster, and he's expected to ask for the max money he can get. And the other thing is as we just said, is the way that Rob Pelinka, I guess, wants to build this roster is dependent on, I guess, what they're willing to trade. They're prioritizing adding size. We know it's a center. To me, there aren't that many. You're either going to try to get Nick Claxton or Jakob Poeltl, which obviously Claxton would be the one you'd want. The only other centers that may be available, and those are the two centers that I think you could get that are available, that are at least league average centers to above average centers. And the rest is you're looking at middle of the road guys, like maybe like a Goga Bitsadeh, so on and so forth. You're not going to find extreme talent or like some diamond in the rough. You might be able to trade up in the draft or something. But to me, the whole problem is there isn't a obvious solution. No superstars available, no all-star centers available. Brook Lopez is in decline. And yeah, if you get him at the right price and you go center by committee, you could do what the Raptors did with Marc Gasol. But to me, you aren't going to be righting the ship with just the free agent pool that there is and what players that aren't going to cost you an arm and leg to upgrade the roster. And if you look at the NBA trade deadline this past year, I think you can have an idea of which players that obviously weren't expiring contracts. You'll have an idea that, okay, these could be the players that may or may not be available. I think that's the whole problem is when you look at the market, it's not a great pool of players. There's a reason why the players who got traded, and I think that was apparent. So let's look at the options right here if we want to rank the assets that they could trade for. So who got traded and who didn't? Obviously, you know, Butler, Levine, and them. And they're not going to go out and get a Cam Johnson. Like we said, I think point guard, you have Luka, so that's your point guard. You need shooters. And to me, Colin Sexton, Robert Williams, too injury prone. Larry Nance is an expiring contract, so he could be a free agent. You get John Collins is too expensive. And when you go further, if Bobby Portis declines his option, he's more of an offensive guy. Deron Sharp, there's a reason why the Nets didn't extend him. And he's solid, but he's a really good backup. Nikola Vucevic is an expiring $20 million that you could trade for. Jonas Valanciunas, I think the Kings are going to hold on to him unless they do a full reset right there. Clint Capella, he's old. He's a backup center at this point. And Jock Landau, he might get cut or he's cheap. I wouldn't trade for Joseph Nurkic. I wouldn't trade for DeAndre Ayton. So you look at the market, what are you trading for? I don't think there is really an obvious guy. So I understand why if you're LeBron and if you're thinking, hey, I can go to the Cavaliers, and maybe I do take less money, or maybe they decide to try to, or maybe the Lakers see if LeBron feels like being nice and signing and trading him, and they try to get something from the Cavs, or he does take a pay cut to go to the Cavs, and the Cavs tell him, hey, we'll find a way to bring Bryce over, and we'll make sure we'll trade for Bronny. While I don't think the Heat would do that, to be honest. The Heat would not do that. Maybe they would. Maybe we don't. You know, maybe old Pat Riley has a change of heart after everything that happened with Jimmy Butler. But the other thing is why I thought the Heat was I don't think Andrew Wiggins is going to be staying in Miami, and you could do a package where you send Terry Rozier to the Nets and you send a pick there, try to get either Cam Johnson or Nick Claxton to the Lakers, and then Andrew Wiggins and Jaime Jaquez to the Lakers for LeBron in this case, if he picks up his option and then signs an extension. I don't know. You know, obviously this is make-believe. I don't believe that would happen. Well, I just don't think he's leaving. It just doesn't make sense. Yeah, let me know what you guys think.